Welcome everyone, we're here live at the GTIA ChannelCon 2025 in steaming hot Nashville, Tennessee. We're here on the show floor to hear the story of our guest, Heather Roundtree from Obvion. Heather, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, Heather, you started this business with 3 co-founders. Tell us that origin story.
Yes, so we all work together in the cybersecurity space. We've been doing this for several years together, and we decided to branch out and create an offensive, advanced cybersecurity company to help our customers proactively defend against bad actors out in this world.
All right, so we're talking red team stuff. Red team, blue team. Break this sort of environment down for the listeners, because we hear about this a lot, like on the internet. There's hackers and stuff and red team. But give us what it's like from your perspective. You're doing this as offensive security for clients. What is that to them?
Sure, absolutely. So it's more than checking a box. A lot of people go through automated pen testing, where it's a governance, risk, or compliance checkbox. We like to take things a step further and do manual testing with our certified ethical hackers team so that we can simulate a real live attack in a customer's environment. We do external testing, we do internal testing, and we use our certified engineers and their tools and resources to simulate a bad actor. So if they're outside of the network, what can they do to get in? And once they're in, what's exploitable? If they start off inside the network, are there admin credentials that they can find? Are there weak passwords? How can they move through the customer's environment once they're on the inside?
This is a real corner of cybersecurity that can get very tech jargony and feel nebulous to a business owner listening to this. And even if an MSP is listening to this, this might be way outside of their comfort zone. So let's try and cut through that. Give us some specific case study. Don't name names, but try and give us clear details so that we can understand what a penetration test typically looks like.
Sure, yeah. So one of our certified ethical hackers would engage with a business IT person. And in this engagement, he would say, this is the scope of services. So we'll take your servers, your firewalls, your switches, and all of your IP addresses. And we will then let you know where the vulnerabilities are in your network. So think of risk management. What is inside of your network that could be exploitable to someone trying to do bad things, or to someone who may not be doing bad things, but accidentally, let's say they click a link in an email, or they have a password that's password 123. Those are easy to crack, and so maybe a user not knowing it could compromise the network. So at typical engagements, we would have 1 to 2 weeks where we are solely focused on the one business organization, and we're letting them know step by step how someone could get into their network. Maybe they can access the HR folder, the accounting folder. Maybe there isn't any separation in the network, so people that shouldn't be able to access payroll, for example, can access payroll. And all that information is gathered through a series of tests and assessments, and then a report of all of the findings, along with remediations and next steps to help the customer tighten up their security posture, are then presented to the people in the organization that need to know those things. And then we actually can do some retesting once those remediations are in place to ensure that the network is secure enough and that the ways that we were able to get in are no longer exploitable from someone from the outside trying to get in.
Have you had the experience where you're talking to an end client and they say to you, I thought my managed service provider was supposed to be doing exactly what you said?
Yes, absolutely. So, there's been instances where we have ran a penetration test and the client decided not to let their other partners know they were running the test. So if they have a SOC partner, a security operating center partner, or a managed detection and response partner, a third-party partner that's overseeing their network, we will tell that customer that they don't have to let those vendors know that we're performing the test. So if our certified ethical hacker gets in there and there are not alerts going off from their third-party vendor, we can let them know that real time that, hey, you should have seen this alert because he got in and was able to gain admin credentials. There have been times and instances where he has gotten into an email Office 365 user account and actually emailed someone else in the organization from the compromised email address that he was able to get.
Okay. My mind's reeling now because I can see how a professional pen tester could find those weaknesses.
Yes.
Who really needs to care about this? Because there's certainly businesses that don't need, not that they don't need, but it's not an appropriate level of engagement for a 10-person dental clinic. Who really needs what you're talking about?
The short answer is everybody.
I know you say everyone, but
yes.
there's a level of practicality. Like
There is.
a 10-person dental clinic has many low-hanging fruit. Like they're all using Smile as their password. They don't need your high level of expertise.
That's right. That's
so
right.
who really needs your high level of expertise to look for the mid to high hanging fruits?
That's a fair question. So a lot of the customers that we help in this industry are those that have governance, risk, and compliance needs. So think about HIPAA, NIST, PCI. Those are customers that are in the healthcare industry, the education industry, the retail industry. So if you think about the brands that you have heard on the news, right? Equifax, Target, CrowdStrike. It wasn't a breach, but it was a big mess up, right, in their configurations. Companies need to know where their vulnerabilities are so that they can protect their customer data and they can also protect their, what we would call secret sauce, right? If it's an organization that makes something, a manufacturing organization, that needs to be protected. And if someone can get in and get that secret sauce, that could be detrimental to the organization or brand recognition, right? Target probably took a hit when they had a breach because of an HVAC vendor trying to get in there, right? So just making sure that you secure all of the different ways that people can get into your network and exploit you and exploit your customers, like HIPAA compliances in healthcare. Those customers really need this proactive red teaming penetration service.
How much of your findings are related to technical measures, like technical weaknesses like weak password or no MFA, and what's the balance to that, and like operational practices? For example, you only have data stored in one location. There's no redundant backups. What kind of horses do you see there?
So I would probably say more times than less, it is a misconfiguration or a lack of IT hardiness. Weak passwords are huge. Segments of network is huge. A lot of times there's just not a lockdown or a layer of security, or maybe it's weak endpoints, right? There is always one breaking point. Our guy has a 99% success rate. So there is always a breaking point in an industry where someone could get in somehow. And it's not a matter of if anymore, it's a matter of when and how quickly you can remediate once someone is inside the network.
What do you find motivates the small business to engage with you?
Okay, that's a fair question. Small businesses cannot afford to be hit with ransomware. Most small businesses will go out of business if there is a breach because they can't afford to pay the ransom and they don't have their data backed up, so they can't recover it.
And that's like that. The scary story from that is getting them to call you, or you're seeing more intrinsic motivation, like they're trying to go for a compliance package and they want to prepare for it.
Yeah, so both. It's preventative. So those smaller businesses recognize that they may not have their security where it needs to be, and something like a penetration test or a risk assessment or a gap analysis is the first step to seeing. You don't know what you don't know. A lot of people don't know they don't know. I didn't before before I came to cybersecurity, and a lot of those small businesses, a dentist office, they don't know anything about that, right? But they store customer data, and they need to make sure their customer data is protected, or they're going to go out of business.
Okay, I love asking people for their number one client transformation. So tell me the story of your happiest client. Who's the happiest that they engaged you?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, we have a client success story. I want to say two things about this. One, we have a client success story that told us this was the best penetration test that we've ever had done, and they have them done every single year. And that's because everything we do is manual. It's a one-on-one engagement with real live updates. And the term I want to use is weaponized, because that's what our hacker would say, which just means he exploits everything he can as far as he can until he uncovers what a bad person would actually need. But the other thing that I wanted to say is that in a recent penetration test, one of our hackers was testing an environment that had ransomware in the environment. And so he was hacking the hacker. And it was just such a surreal experience. And he was able to share that with the customer.
What'd they say about that? That's
It
you
was
and I can think, wow, that's an incredible story. They probably thought, oh my gosh,
they were terrified.
What's going on?
Yeah,
Okay.
they were terrified.
But
we were able to find it and address it, and I would say scare off the hacker, because we were in there firing back at him.
Okay, a little pro bono defense.
Yes, pro bono defense. So if the penetration test was done any earlier, the hacker may not have been there. If it was done any later, the hacker may have gotten something that they shouldn't have. But just the timing of the hacker being in there when we were in there and being able to fight that off is just such a phenomenal story. You know, nobody wants to be in that situation. But being able to help there was pretty phenomenal.
Fantastic. You started this business with your 4 co-founders. What got you into this? Why not go have a nice, reliable, dependable job somewhere else? Why did you take the entrepreneurial plunge and start a business?
Nothing is reliable and dependable in the cybersecurity world. Let's just say that. But it's just kind of an endeavor that we all saw a need for. We wanted to do something different. We wanted to get away from your traditional MSSP and just create an advanced cybersecurity team and company that was all about protecting, guarding, and defending our customer. And actually, our name Obvium is a Latin word meaning to guard, defend, and stand in the way. And so that's what we're all about.
Fantastic. What's the next 5 years look like for you?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't really know what the next 5 years looks like.
Okay, better question. That's a fluff question. What's the next 1 year look like for you? What do you want to do by August 2026?
Yeah, so we really want name brand recognition, right? We've been doing this for about 18 months. So we want to grow our brand. We want to have lots of happy customers. We want those customers to refer more happy customers, and maybe 5 years, right? Be a household name where people know where to go when they want to proactively protect their networks.
And what's the niche audience that you want that recognition with? Because you're not getting it for 15 million small business.
No, it's definitely that large to enterprise customer.
Okay.
We're not the least expensive in the world, I'll tell you that.
It's okay. There's no strategic advantage to be the least expensive. Only most expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so fantastic. Heather Roundtree from Opvion, Latin for to defend.
Right, defend.
Wonderful for having you here. This has been the MSPAA podcast live at GTIA ChannelCon 2025 here in Nashville. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.